Good morning. This is just a quick weekly update for any progress that I've made towards my personal budgeting app that I'm submitting for the Swift Student Challenge. I think I haven't made any changes to the dashboard view or the budget view yet. The biggest changes are with the transactions, so I now can use like pagination to get more than 100 transactions because the Akahu API limits how many you can get at a time from an API call. So when I specify the tenth month till the 11th month, and I fetch my transactions, you can see here that it actually dates back until the 8th of October, and with the newest transactions being the 7th of October, which is what you would expect. So this is more than 100 transactions. So that feature now works. I did a full breakdown in my previous video where I showed an Xcode playground with the code that I used and how I used it's just one function and a Swift structure that I use as a model to decode the JSON data that gets returned from the transactions endpoint from the Akahu API. So that's pretty much all of the updates. I haven't yet optimized this, so we're still using like the while true loop where we just keep going until our cursor is null, and that's probably not a really good way of making this call to get our transactions because there's no exit conditions other than whether or not the cursor is null and a few HTTP responses in there if something goes wrong with the request to the server. But any sort of while true loop like this should be avoided. So that's something I'm going to change when I go through this code and clean it up a little bit in the future. If we look at our transaction view, nothing much has changed yet. I haven't done any filtering. I've done a lot of sort of like playing around with how I want the view to look. So I'm still not quite happy with it, and I'm still going to work on it, but I want there to be some sort of configuration pane or panel or pane within the panel, I think. And I really like this table here for viewing all of your transactions. What we'll do actually is we'll fetch some transactions and we'll have a look. So if I just click on mobile, for example, you can see that I spent $110 on gas this day. I don't know how many times I've filled up my car this month, but this day, November the 3rd, we have the category fuel stations, we have the name of the company, Mobil, and we have the date. I quite like this. I think I'd like it to be a little bit more like outstanding, and I also want there to be some sort of features or capabilities to then have the user like look at this transaction and go through all of their transactions and mark them off or manually categorize them or fit them into categories that they've created under their budget, and that's how the app will then be able to compare your expected expenditure to your actual expenses, what you're actually purchasing and buying. I might try and implement some sort of like automatic categorization based on the categories that we get back from the um, the Akahu API after the transaction enrichment. But I don't think it's a bad thing for a user to click on a transaction, for example, like this one, and then have to go through every single one and categorize them because it might take a little bit of time. It won't take that much time. You can get through transactions pretty quickly, to be fair. It might take 5 or 10 minutes, but because all of the data's there, you just have to select where you want to fit this expense based on the information that you get from the API. But not only does it allow you as the user to sort of understand how much you've spent over the month, because it's so easy. You can purchase one or two things a day and just tap your card at the machine and go. You might go to the supermarket one day, um, you might go get your car fixed the next day, but all of these sort of add up, and this you can categorize them. If you look through them, you can categorize them. You can get some data around how much you're spending in different categories, and then that acts as a really strong foundation for them being able to optimize your personal expenditure. So one of the sort of big like reasons for wanting to develop this for me personally is just so I've got some data around um, where I can improve on expenses, so that it feels like an optimization problem really. It's not so much I need it may not be so much I need help like tracking my finances and like sticking to a budget, but it's more, I've spent this much on um, groceries this week, and it's quite consistent, but I'm actually purchasing it from um, these grocers, and I might be able to save money if I go to this alternative store, or if I just happen to, yeah, do something like that. So it's just like an optimization problem. It's just making the most of the money you have, I suppose, the money you're getting. And I don't think it's a bad thing to know and have to look through every single one of your transactions for the month. So the auto categorization thing might not be for a while away, but we'll see. Other than that, if there's any suggestions you have, feel free to leave them in the comments below for me, and we'll see you in the next update.